Sneaking in cloaked, hatchet in the back of an enemy, picking up a bottle, throwing it to distract a bitch, teleporting over and breaking a neck, lifting it up an enemy, shooting with a shotgun, tossing him over into another bad guy who you also blow away. And then... Yo, what's going on, guys? Thank you for joining me today. Deathloop releases in just 2 days. I'm so excited. And since putting out my trailer reaction a couple days ago, I've gone away and done a bunch of homework and watched all the trailers and read up on everything that's available right now and just done a deep dive in to figure out, what's gonna be in this game and what it's gonna be like to play it. And along the way, I found out some really cool shit that I want to share with you guys and just go into detail about some of the things that I'm most excited about and a little bit concerned about around the game. Some things I briefly covered in my trailer reaction that I put out a couple days ago. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link up here. Pause and go check that bitch out and then come back here and get into it with us. So let's jump right in. Before the good and before the bad, there's a couple cool things I discovered around the game design that we've got to talk about, you guys. And the first thing is what the developers tapped into for inspiration around the location and overall design of the game's world. I'm gonna put some comparison shots up right now so we can A and B some in-game trailer stills that I took against some real-world photos of the location that inspired the design. And the gorgeous photos you're seeing next to the trailer stills are of the Faroe Islands in the North Atlantic Ocean. The islands are a self-governing territory that's a part of the Kingdom of Denmark. The territory comprises of 18 rocky volcanic islands that sit between Iceland and Norway and are absolutely beautiful, you guys. I can't wait to see what Arkane does with this in-game. They always have beautiful vistas and horizons, and with the Faroe Islands as inspiration to draw from, we're gonna get some absolutely jaw-dropping visuals and scenes to be a part of. I didn't even know this place existed before jumping in here, you guys, which was not only cool to discover, but it's absolutely beautiful, which makes me even more excited to jump into the game. The second cool thing I discovered, and I actually have to correct myself for my trailer reaction because the game isn't inspired by the 70s, it's actually inspired by the 60s. Again, I'm gonna throw up some comparison shots right now, and you can see the influence right away. And it isn't just the 60s they're drawing inspiration from, but a particular counterculture revolution called the swinging 60s. And if you're not at all familiar with this movement or time period, it was kind of this collection of political activism and freedom of expression that included the anti-nuclear movement, the sexual liberation, the Beatles, the rising popularity of pirate radio stations, and of course, some wacky ass clothes, y'all. I mean, come on. Really? Anyway, those are some pretty cool things I discovered around what the devs tapped into to inspire the design of the world that I thought would be cool to share with you. Let's get into the first thing I am most excited about, you guys, and that's the weapons. Guns and gunplay, and I can't wait to see what they do with it in the game, you guys. First of all, I've gone through every single trailer, and there's a lot of different guns, you guys. Everything from pistols that can be dual-wielded to Uzis to shotguns to ARs to snipers, the whole gamut. It looks absolutely badass.
There is a couple, though, that I'm really excited about.
The first one is a nail gun, and by the looks of it, it appears to be an almost silent weapon where you can quickly get around and take enemies out without alerting everyone in the area, which is dope. The next one I'm really excited about is this locking dual pistol that I'm gonna put up now. In its locking position, it appears the barrel of one gun sits in the rear of the other, and you can use it as one weapon, and when you want to, you can unlock them and dual wield them as pistols in each hand. I didn't even catch this when I did my trailer reaction, even after seeing it the second time, but when I went back and watched every single one to see all the weapons that they were showing off before its release, to my surprise, I discovered this one and it looks absolutely fun as hell to use. I also saw a couple melee weapons that looked really cool, but honestly, I'm most excited to see what Arkane does with the weapons. In the Dishonored games and in Prey, the weapons always felt secondary to me to your character abilities, which was fine. It fit the gameplay, but the guns just never felt meaty and badass, and there was never enough of them to get really excited about. I am really excited for the gunplay in this game, guys. It looks tight. And the second thing I'm really wishing for in the game is the ability to interact with your environment and use objects in the world to help you in combat. You know what clip I'm gonna put up right now? When your character enters that room, picks a bottle up off the table, throws it at an enemy and hits him in the hand that they're holding a gun in and staggers him, allowing you to teleport forward, kick him in the stomach, and then break their neck. Yo, can you just imagine the possibilities, you guys, and all the badass combos you could pull off? Sneaking in cloaked, hatching in the back of an enemy, picking up a bottle, throwing it to distract a bitch, teleporting over and breaking a neck, lifting it up an enemy, shooting him with a shotgun, tossing him over into another bad guy who you also blow away. And then dashing over into another group of enemies, tossing up a grenade, teleporting out, and boom! All the bitches are dead. And that's what I'm talking about, you guys. Badass abilities, badass weapons, and a badass environment that you can interact with is gonna create some badass combos. And I just think there's so much potential here to create this pace and momentum that feels really good with a ton of different options that allow the player to be super creative in combat. All right. Now that we've covered the things I'm most excited about, I want to jump in and talk a little bit about the things I'm a little bit concerned about. The first thing that concerns me about Deathloop is its stealth gameplay. Personally, I love stealth gameplay, and I've loved what Arkane has done in their previous titles with stealth mechanics. But like I said in my trailer reaction, the developers have been really clear that they want to create this John Wick action experience, which just sounds incredible to me. And with all the things we just covered that I'm excited about, I feel like Arkane is poised to deliver some absolutely incredible combat. But y'all know, when you put stealth mechanics in a game, you're just begging those stealth gamers to sneak in and out, taking out enemies undetected, not triggering alarms, killing everybody in an area without anybody knowing and getting out like a badass. There's a tug of war there. There's a tug of war where stealth and action are just going to be fighting with each other. So I feel like they really got to be careful here and just guide and steer the player to continuously keep a really good pace and to stick to it just being action oriented. Now, I'm not going to complain if it ends up being stealthy because I love it, but when the developer mentioned creating this John Wick experience, I want that. I want to play that. And doing it with the abilities and a cool environment and badass weapons sounds absolutely incredible. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of what the experience was like with the original Crysis game. Do you remember how freaking creative you could be in that game because of the nanosuit abilities? And I feel like this is the exact opportunity these guys have. So I hope they don't mess it up by leaning a little too far on the stealth side, that's all. And this leads to the final thing I'm concerned about around the game, guys, and that's it being too repetitive. As you know, the gameplay is based off this time loop where every time you die, you get sent all the way back and have to start over. And I'm not exactly sure how that works yet, and I'm gonna save, speculating until I just get in and play the game and do my review. But I do think it's at risk a little of being repetitive. Now, if they really do focus on having these abilities and good weapons and a badass environment to work with, I think there's a lot of potential to completely negate this concern. However, dying and jumping in and redoing stuff, I don't know. There's just this thing in the back of my head that's like, maybe after the 50th time. I could totally be wrong, but it's a thought that's continued to come up in my head, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Outside of all that, everything I've seen in the trailers looks killer, you guys. The premise already looks cool, so I can't wait to see what they do with the story. And from an audio and musical side, the songs that they've used in the trailers are amazing. If you are new to the channel and also excited about Deathloop, hit that subscribe and bell button below and join me for all my future content. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I will see you on the next Skirm's Garage. Peace.